As this has been titled the Countdown to Contact, we will discuss a little bit about the idea of contact itself. As we have said, open contact, the introduction of extraterrestrial beings to your society, is now inevitable and is on a timeline wherein introductions publicly of extraterrestrials in your society will take place within the next 5 of your years.
So I just had this idea for the movie, The Scary Monster in the Apartment. What I was going to have is, I would, actually, let me just flip this around here, with the camera around here. And I need, no, the camera will have to be around here because I want it focused on me sitting here. Oh, it's easy because it'll just be at the computer looking on. That's perfect. It is unintentionally perfect. Oh, I also want to say this is really cool in here. I turned the light on for the first time today just to see what it looks like. And it's like, oh, it's around here somewhere. Oh, no, that's night version 1. Again, that's instant horror movie, but the next one is, oh, there's a light with that too. And I'm doing that, I mean, this is instantly, it looks like a found footage, like I don't even have to do anything. This looks like a found footage horror movie already. So I have the right camera for found footage. And then I think I can do the cinematics with the iPhone. And I think that'll be the right mix. And, I can have other people, I have the, actually I don't think I have that on camera right now, but I just want to show that what the light looks like. I was out on the balcony. That's not what I was doing. I was out on the balcony planning out a shot, the logistics of it. I was the scene of the shadow monster in this apartment. I'm thinking about the logistics of it. I've been sitting for like all day. That's what I've been thinking is how to do certain shots, like use the drone for this shot and use like how I want the camera to pan in from this direction over here, and I want this person doing that. I was laying out the scenes for the movie, and today I was doing something I never really expected to think. I didn't, how can I say about this? It just feels really surreal to be doing the thing that I've seen other people do. Like I remember like in the Scream TV series, watching the City, I think they had the Savinis on that, talking about how movies were made. And on Lock and Key, they had that, or maybe the Savinis were from Lock and Key, whatever, but it was the same thing. There was a group of kids where they were making low budget horror movies. Tom Savini is like possibly the greatest effects guy ever. And just seems like a really fun character, and inspires people. But that's not the point of it. The point of it, I was sitting there thinking about how to do the special effects for the movie, and like Michael really wants to do a muskrat monster, so I'm going to go with it. Like I keep wanting to do other things. Like I do want to put in the fairies a bit. I want to put in the fairies and maybe make the muskrat. Maybe the muskrat man is a fairy of some sort. Just because I really want a corgi, and I want a scene with corgis and fairies. I really want that, so there's going to be fairies. But I was thinking about how to do the scene with a shadow monster. And at first I was going to do I was going to do a shadow monster with Michael just in a black bodysuit walking around. And if I know that we need something more convincing if it's going to be a muskrat monster, so I'm going to have to put him into an actual costume. So I have to get the costume together. And I wanted it to be icky. And I'm thinking like a muskrat from the nether realms would be like dripping with oil. And like, how do I make it drippy? And then I'm thinking I can't make it too drippy because I want to film it in this beautiful apartment, and I do not want to spend hours and hours cleaning up just for a bloody scene. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to put plastic sheeting down. But then if I'm putting plastic sheeting down, I have to make sure that Michael is in appropriate footwear, because if he's walking across, if he's trying to run quickly on plastic, and that's when it hit me. It hit me that I actually can make this fucking movie because I have the vision for it, and I know how to do it. When I was on the patio, I don't know if it's meditating or just listening, but maybe communing is a better word. Feels like the better word. And I was thinking, like, even though I still can't believe that the ODSP people, the Ontario government people, and the union are just pretending that I'm not doing what I'm doing. Because there's a part of me that wants them, I want them to learn. I want them to learn that this is what happens when you let a writer control the narrative. You shouldn't let a writer control the narrative. It's a dumb idea. Because, if someone is actually trained in how to write, I can create scenarios, and all I had to do was, like, here's the evidence they give me, I fill in the blanks. And I don't want to fill them in too much because I can't make it seem like I'm manipulating the audience. I have to just be able to, like, frame it, and that's it. I don't have to manipulate the information. I just have to say, here is what happened, and make it in a non-boring manner. It will be fucking easy. And I was thinking that, one day they're going to believe that they messed up with me. And then I had that little voice, and it's like, it actually just said, they already know, hon. At first I thought that was like my mom's voice, but I think the only one that ever called me that was Lissa Quaglia. She died recently, last year, I believe. Yes, it was last year, because it was after Jamie and I stopped talking. Just for a moment there, I felt like I felt her. Like, I really felt like I felt her just for a second there. I think they already know that they made a mistake. But the next thought after that was, I realized, like, it's like, as the more I'm thinking of myself as a writer-director, it's like, that's not what I wanted to say. The more that I think of myself as a spiritual person, and the idea that each individual person has the power of the same power that I have inside of me is within every single person, that they're fully aware at some level of what they're doing and have the ability to change. Fuck around and find out. I fucked around because I thought they made promises and I thought they would keep them. I thought all it would take is like, hey, good, you made promises, let's do this. I fucked around and I found out that they were lying. Well, they fucked around with the wrong person. It is completely not escaping my awareness as I'm filming this, that I've set it up perfectly for a horror shot, because this would be a perfect scene over here for a shadow monster. I think I'm realizing I don't think I want Devil's Mountain to be found footage. I think I want to do it more like It Follows. Like I wanted to shoot it like that type of style. First, partly because it looks really cool and it's creepy, and I like the slow build of it. I think I want to mix some of the cinematic and the live action stuff that similar to Phoenix. Shoot, it's a Phoenix Lights. Phoenix Forgotten. Phoenix Forgotten had an intermingling of found footage and cinematic, and I wanted to do something similar to that. I wanted to do the cinematic style closer in style to Best in Show, and the found footage obviously would be more horror, and I want to make sure it's really creepy. So I'm trying to do the balance between funny and creepy. I'm trying to establish myself as a kind of Wolfman Jack type character. I need to establish that I'm both scary and funny. I realized I was staring at the bricks in the outside of the building, and I realized that thinking of the movie as a whole is like looking at a wall. It's just looking at the wall, and it is massive. But a wall is made up of individual bricks, and each individual brick is actually not that bad. Like laying the next brick is doable. If you think of the wall, sometimes that seems too daunting. I mean, you need the vision of the wall before you can start laying the bricks, otherwise you waste a lot of bricks. So you need the vision of where you want to end first, and then you go back and you start bit by bit by bit by bit. You know, if nothing else, I will be able to use this experience as a verification I know how to do project management. Should help out with I think that would help with my resume a lot, just being able to say, hey, I made a movie. You want to know, here's my proof that I know how to do project management. I made a movie. I directed it, I produced it, I wrote it, I cast it, starred, no, not starred, I'm gonna make sure Michael's the star, but I'm gonna be in the movie. Although Michael might want me to be the star. We'll see what happens when he starts acting. I don't know if I said it on camera or not, if I only thought it really hit me where I was like, you know what, it's not on me anymore whether or not those people learn their lesson. I have other things to do. I mean, I was sitting here starting to dream, like, the synchronicities are weird. I was talking with my woman I used to work with, named Sue Varney. After I published my first novel, I believe, I can't remember, but I think I got published first and then she got published, or it was maybe her first and then me, but I can't really remember. But she published children's books and then she auctioned off a screenplay, and that was long ago. I mean, she started working on movies long before me. And now she was like, I was just chatting with her on Facebook, and she's talking about some of the people she worked with. And she's worked with this one woman she worked with, had also worked on The Iron Giant. A man that she's currently working with worked on Men in Black. I mean, like, this is somebody that I worked with, is currently working with someone that worked on big places. Like when I would say big, like real movies. I can't even, knowing how much work is involved in doing what I'm doing. I was going to say I can't imagine how much work is involved for a big movie, but you know what? I can. That's the thing, like when I'm watching movies now, I guess that's the part, it's a little bit ruined, but I've always kind of thought of movies that way. When I'm looking at a movie, I see everything. I see, well, that's a very expensive outfit, or that's a cheap outfit. That must have been a good costume designer. Look at the makeup on that person. That one, like, I'm always analyzing individual things. I always have. This is weird, so I'm just going to record it and not judge. I was in the kitchen thinking about how, possibly the others do interact with us in our dreams and make sure that ideas are only given to the worthy, and that if they deem you unworthy, they might men in black you. So that was the thought that I was thinking, I wonder if the others can, or the adjustment team can men in black you. And then I walked outside. Michael smacked my ass and said, "Get jiggy with it." Will Smith was in Men in Black. That's just the sort of that's the sort of random weirdness that I deal with every day. Points of data. Do they connect? So here's an example how receiving direct information is very weird. I've been researching that, I can't remember his name anymore, the Dutch painter whose name has escaped me already. I was researching him, and for some reason we started talking about Hermes. And when I said Hermes, Michael said, wasn't he a hermit? Which, based on my story, is, again, he still hasn't watched the movies and but he said, wasn't Hermes a hermit? And I thought, I've never heard that before, but I went on ChatGPT to see if there was a connection between Hermes and the hermit, and it brought up the hermit is carrying a 6-pointed star in a lantern, which is the seal of Solomon. And I am again reminded that about a year ago, I asked for a sign. I stepped outside and saw a giant star of David in the sky, which, when you see something like that, it is impossible to go back to sleep. So that was my activation, which I'm pretty sure I've talked about before, but I will briefly say here again. I had just started to wonder if maybe I was talking with the voice of wisdom, and I asked for a sign. I stepped outside and I saw a Star of David in the sky. I immediately dropped to my knees, went back inside and said, no one's ever going to believe that. So I went back outside and took a picture, and that's what the angel thing is. I was not consciously aware of a connection between Hermes and the hermit until Michael randomly said, wasn't Hermes That's how it works. You are given a call to action, and if you choose to act upon it, you might get the answer you're looking for. Just putting that down for today. Hermes is the one that lets you travel to the underworld. And I think it is time for me to start going back to the island. For real, this time consciously and intentionally, and to see what I can learn. That is the next step. And here we go. So I just had one of those experiences which are like synchronicity, they would call it. It is too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. Today is Friday, the 23rd, I believe. God, I have been off for too long. Anyway, today is Friday, the 23rd, I believe. I did a tarot reading for the first time tonight, and I haven't done a tarot reading in this place yet, so I did one today, and in the position of like the near future, the card that came up was I just did use the Rider-Waite deck. It's one I've always used since I was a teenager, and did Celtic cross cross spread, and the card that was for here's what comes next was the Hermit. Now, when I used to do tarot readings, I would actually like write notes and say stuff, but now a tarot reading for me is usually like 2 minutes, if that. Like I spread, because I get the message and I move on. So I didn't say anything about it at all. I didn't vocalize that the next thing was going to be the Hermit. And then I log into YouTube after I meditate. So then after that, I meditated for about an hour. Probably longer, actually. Realizing now it was probably closer to an hour and a half. Anyway, after I meditated for a while, I went onto YouTube, and the first video I see is Carolyn Miss talking about the power of the Hermit. Again, I know it's a coincidence, right? It's like, what are the odds that the thing that was going to come next in my tarot card reading was the Hermit, and then when I log into, the next thing I log into is the Hermit. Like it could be a coincidence. But what I'm finding is like coincidences are happening all the time. And like, I know how we talk about our phones listening to us, and that's why my first thought is like, did I say something? That's my first thought when weird things happen. It's like, it must be my phone listening to me, or did I say something first? But no, like, I don't talk when I'm doing tarot card readings anymore. And I don't know why that video came up. But, you know, it's that thing about being crazy, though. Because I was about to reference the Matrix. And Matrix, at the beginning, when Neo was being drawn to Trinity, he thinks, follow the white rabbit. And that's the thing about following the white rabbit, is you go down the rabbit hole and sometimes you don't come out. I think I'm going to have to talk about that in the documentary, actually. So maybe that's one of the benefits of the things I've just got from that, is I have to talk about Alice in Wonderland and the rabbit hole and the Matrix. I'm going to have to talk about the Matrix. I'm probably going to have to talk about David Icke and his view of what the Matrix is. Oh, God.
Everybody knows there is like this closeted gay mafia, largely Republican, that exists in Washington, D.C., and everybody knows every single one of them who's gay. And so and what I believe, the only reason that is relevant is because I believe that internal conflict creates so much vitriol inside a person that they take it out on the rest of the world. And they do.
That man's name is Hunter Biden. He is talking about a gay mafia that is secretly in charge of the American government. If only someone had warned you. Now, I know that people have still not watched my documentary, Unbelievable, that I released last September, in which I said, fear of being perceived as gay has destroyed America. So I will say that again. Fear of being perceived as gay has destroyed America. Now, Hunter wants to blame the gay mafia because he's a dork. Like, do you know the reason people don't like him? It's not about his laptop. A little birdie told me that Hunter was inappropriate with a worker at a sex club in Los Angeles. And that behavior forced the closure of the sex club. So that's why people don't like him, because Hunter was a dork at a sex club and caused its closure. And there have been, think about how many news conferences have been held about Hunter Biden and how much they've gone after him for that. Now imagine if they put that same energy into tracking down predators and the people on the list. If they could put that much energy into removing all the predators, that would be cool. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone cares about a group of closeted gay men that are too afraid to come out. We don't care about that. What we really care about is a whole group of predators that are taking our money and doing horrible things to our women and children and our men. And we still haven't had that conversation. But that's the only thing we care about Hunter. We don't care that there's a bunch of cowards in the Republican Party. We can see that. What we care about is getting rid of the magicians. And that will happen as soon as someone has the courage to ask Doug Ford that goddamn question. We are surrounded by cowards. But I did warn you about the gay mafia.